A very warm good afternoon to all of you. On behalf of Solar Quarter and First View Group, I, Sakshi, welcome you to our webinar on Solar Market Outlook Karnataka. Before starting today's proceedings, I take this opportunity to thank our platinum partner for this event, Longi. We'll be playing a short video by our sponsors now.
When the sunshine is converted into the current following towards dreams, the nature and technology had a perfect integration. Meanwhile, a new epoch of energy transition is ushered. Longi will utilize solar energy technology to drive sustainable growth innovatively. The solutions of green power plus green hydrogen is able to produce endless benefits to mankind. Longi persistently pursues the development concept of robust, reliable, and technology-led. And it has developed 5 business sections covering monocrystalline wafer, cell and module, C&I, household distributed generation solution, green energy solution, and green hydrogen equipment and solutions. And it has evolved into the first solar enterprise in the world and committed to become the most valuable solar technology company in the world to support global zero-carbon development and shape the energy mix worldwide. Monocrystalline silicon wafers. Longi focuses on R&D, production and sale of monocrystalline silicon ingots and wafers. It was the first company fully adopted diamond wire slicing technology. In 2022, the annual production capacity had exceeded 150 gigawatts. Cell and module. Longi had refreshed world records for the cell conversion efficiency for multiple times, among which efficiencies of N-type TOPCon, P-type TOPCon, and N-type HJT cells have been improved to 25.21%, 25.19%, and 26.50% respectively. Longi had won trusts from the global customers with its solar cells featured with reliability, effective efficiency, and high yield. Meanwhile, the customer experiences had been improved by Longi life cycle quality runs through every stage. The company had set the example for this industry to assist the development of the new power system with its leading technology. The module shipment had ranked Longi at the first place in the world. C&I and household distributed generation solution. Longi had set up branches in many countries and regions to supply high-efficient solar modules to C&I and household customers, and empower the cooperative partners and provide proposals for innovative solutions to customers with different application scenarios for household solar storage. Cement rooftop, flexible rooftop, and metal rooftop, i.e. BIPV. Longi is steering players in this industry to shape the new ecology of distributed generation business in a sustainable fashion. Green energy solution. Driven by application and innovation from the solar plus multiple energies, power generation, grid, consumption and storage, carbon reduction of high consumption users, green hydrogen, ecological restoration, and rural revitalizations, etc. Longi is committed to develop the highly reliable solar power stations in entire lifetime to fulfill the goal of the transition of low and zero carbonization for this industry, and to provide green wisdom and green power for attaining carbon neutrality objectives. Green hydrogen equipment and solutions. Under global consensus of carbon neutrality, Longi Hydrogen has dedicated on hydrogen equipment research and manufacturing. The planned capacity of Longi Hydrogen is 1.5 gigawatts in 2022 and 5 to 10 gigawatts in 2025. Longi Hydrogen will develop an ecological chain of innovation with hydrogen technology and provide complete solutions for green power plus green hydrogen to accelerate energy transitions. Mission of Longi is to create value for customers. With its sound health and international visions, The company had been granted with over 1,387 crucial patents by relied on its first-class research and development platform. Its cutting-edge technology enabled the leadership of Longi in solar industry to advance green energy-based technologies to build a green and zero-carbon world to share a prospect future with you.
Longi.
Thank you, team, for playing that. Now we will begin with our presentation for the day. I would like to invite Mr. Ganesh Kumar from Launji onto the stage. Over to you, Mr. Kumar.
Thank you, Sakshi, for the warm welcome, and thank you for playing the video. That was so crisp and precise. Long is where we are now, so where we are standing, and what's our vision in the future. So most of the things are already have been like mentioned in the videos. I think hope everyone has got a clear picture about who we are Longi and what's our vision in the future. So good afternoon to everyone. So let's begin few of the few slides that I want to showcase it to you to walk you through our company, that what we have achieved so far and what's our plan and where we are standing now, and which are the mentioned in the video. So I would like to show some of the proofs, certificates in the slides, so which will give you further confidence on the Langi brand. So yeah, Sakshi, you can make it as a big screen. Go to the next slide. Next one. Yeah. So to everyone, I think we are now a 2 decade plus company, which is founded in 2000, and we are standing in 2022. So it's almost 22 years we have sustainably growing in this solar panel manufacturing, and also we have started with the wafer manufacturing initially and mono modules, and we got into the cells, we got into the modules, and we were continuously growing every year and year to the next level, and we are the leading brand in the world now. So to quickly just connect to the numbers that we have achieved till date, it's about overall operating revenue. We have about 12.6 billion US dollars at the moment, and till H1 last year, profit is in 1.4 billion dollars, and out of which we have been investing about $689 million in R&D. Presently, until H1 2022, we have achieved an operating income of 7.5 US billion dollars, out of which the net profit is contributing at 966 million US dollars, and out of which the planned R&D investment is about 547 US million dollars. So presently, we are working with 50,000 plus employees, and about 30 manufacturing bases, and we have 30 plus global networks across the globe. So move on to the next slide, Avanti. So, so this showcases our milestones year on year, how we achieved. So, as I said, I mentioned earlier that we begin at 2000, and so we are the first solar manufacturing company who just started with mono crystalline silicon wafers alone. And so during that time, polycrystalline was there in the market, and it was spreading across everywhere because of the price and other things, and nobody has touched the monocrystalline silicon wafers because of the cost and the reliability factors, and also how sustainable this solution is going to be. But uh, our founder and all the employees of Longi has confidence that monocrystalline silicon wafers and the monocrystalline model is going to be the future. So they thrived a lot, and they start doing a lot of innovations in the same segment. And year on year, we achieved a good efficiency in monocrystalline technology. So in 2014, we have come up with monoperc trend, and we introduced that perk trend into the market. And after that, all other players has got used with it. And 2019, we got into the transformations of M10 silicon wafers. Initially, we started with the M6 silicon wafer, which is coming up to the M6 cells. And now we have introduced into the market of M10 silicon wafers, which is we feel that it's going to be reliable and a sustainable product for the coming years. Not only that, last year we have introduced the Longi life cycle quality management, so which covers up the completely from starting of sourcing of the raw materials, how we manufacture it, how it is suitable into the product manufacturing, until it covers the after sales service, how completely we are covering up and we are giving confidence to the clients. So that life cycle quality management we have introduced into the market since last year. And this year we introduced solar for all. So, and along with it, we also introduced a new product, HIMO 6, so which is an HPBC technology. So all every year we are achieving a milestone, which is a record break, and we are introducing a new technology to the market, which is not only a new technology which is giving a high performance modules, but also gives confidence to the customer. The technology is reliable and sustainable for over a period of time, because modules, the technology changes once in a year, twice in a year, because we are going to achieve the higher efficiency year a year to meet the tariff and other market demands. Go to the next slide. Yeah. So this numbers says that totally we have done 70 gigawatt of wafer shipment in the last year, and presently we are standing with a wafer capacity of 105 gigawatt. Adding to it, I can also say that we are standing with 65 gigawatt of module manufacturing capacity with 38.2 gigawatt of cell manufacturing capacity. And we are the world largest wafer manufacturing company, world largest model manufacturing company, and cell manufacturing company at the moment. And also I would like to say that Longi is only company which is a vertically integrated company, which I'll slowly cover up in the other slides, where I have mentioned about the life cycle management, how we are it. So presently we have headquartered in Xi'an. So our main factory and R&D center is in Xi'an in China. So go to the next slide, Antti. Yeah, so this is one of the achievement which we have crossed recently, and we are the only one company who have achieved a 30 gigawatt plus of shipment till date, and 38.52 gigawatt was the total shipment which is recorded in the last year. And during that time, the model plant capacity is 60 gigawatt. So presently we are at 65 gigawatt of capacity, and this precise pinpoint shows that our presence across the globe. So presently we have our manufacturing base in China, the pinpoints which is located, and we have in Vietnam, and we have a cell manufacturing base in Malaysian factory as well. Next slide. So this we proudly say that so we are with everyone. We are with the leading manufacturer, leading developers, leading EPC players, and also we are with the leading C&I players, almost with all the players. So globally, we have about 150 plus global footprints. We have with 5,000 plus of global customers we have. It's not only in India and out international customers also as part of our business supplies. So we can see our business portfolio here. Next slide. Yeah. So as mentioned in our videos as well, so we are the Tier 1 manufacturers and 100% bankable company, so which is a record for the last consecutive 3 to 5 years now, and we are AAA rated company, AAA rated company, and we are maintaining this AAA rating for the last 5 years in sequence. And also we have highest Altman score in the model manufacturing company, so which shows that how reliable and how sustainable company is Longi is. Next, Avanti. Yeah. So this is, as I mentioned, BNEF 100% bankable company. So their report, which I shared in the slide for information. Next. And about the PV module tech bankability ratings. So we are AAA rating company. This year also we have rated AAA, so which has been published recently in November month. Next slide. Yeah, and these are the few benchmarks which I would like to tell to everyone who's joined this webinar. First is the diamond wire cutting technology, which we have introduced into the market, and we predominantly using that. So thereby we are saving nearly about 3 billion yuan every year. So this reduces the production cost, wastages, and everything. So this technology we are continuously using it. I mean, like completely we are using diamond cutting technology now. And mono technology, we are the first introduced into the market, and during that time in 2016-17, so people were hesitant to adapt to this because the cost and the technology is not that much mature during that time. But we have that confidence, we introduced into the market, and from that day I think we have introduced from M6 wafer, increase in size of the wafer, I mean like suitable wafer which is working out with all the manufacturing facilities. So now we can claim that about 90% of market share is completely belongs to the mono technology alone. And also with the monopack technology we have drastically reduced the first year degradation in the modules. And with respect to the bifacial technology using the monoperk, which has which has broadened the usage in the market, not only in the C&I segments and also in the ground mount utility segments, it has been widely used and accepted. So that is one of the major achievement benchmark that we wanted to say to the audience. And we are the one who introduced M6 wafer standard into the market, and we have brought in the 450 watt peak high power era into the world. And almost we have supplied around 4 gigawatt plus of modules in India, which is of M6 wafer standard modules. And we moved into M10 wafer standard to increase the power watt peak and also higher efficiency. So that has happened since last year. That is M10 wafer standard. So that has started. So we led the industries to this era now, M10 wafer, which is about 182 mm size module standards. So presently this year, last month we have introduced HPBC cell technology, which is a high performance back contact cell technologies, which is going to be further increase the watt peak without increasing the size of the modules. We will be delivering a higher power output modules up to 570, 575, 580 watt peak plus modules. And the life cycle quality management, which I have repeatedly mentioned in the videos and also in the first couple of slides as well. So we will give the multiple assurance with respect to the innovation and management and how we are valuing the customer's requirement. So this all put together, so we are benchmarking as a leading brand, not only as a leading brand, but also give like good confidence to the clients that we will be there in the industry and we will take care of all the requirement from the customers and we will support you on time. Next slide. So on the next slide, stability and reliability part. So I would like to showcase it to you about the world record efficiency, that every quarter I think we will come up with new efficiency with respect to new technology. So it's not that Longi is not to do perfectly like in this technology, N-type Topcon or Topcon or HJT. So we were in the all the every quarter we are coming up with new technology and we are breaking our own records. Every quarter we are breaking our own records. So recently, we have set a record of 26.81, which is a new world record efficiency for silicon solar cells. So which we have achieved through the HJT solar cells, which is a full-size silicon wafers through the mass production. Next. So this slide shows that every quarter from 24.06, so in January 2019, we have achieved this efficiency. And that time, this is a world record. And we've surpassed the same efficiency, our own record, by using the N-type Topcon in June 2021, which is about 25.21%. And we surpassed the same efficiency, about 25.40 in March 2022 by using the Longi indium-free HJT solar efficiency technology. And in June 2022, in this year, we introduced Longi HJT solar efficiency, which a record break of 26.50%. And in the last quarter, September 2022, we also created a record break in P-type HJT solar cell efficiency of 26.12%, which is highest in the market. And recently, in this month, we have in HJT silicon solar cell efficiency, we crossed 26.81%. So which is the world record, which none of the companies have achieved it so far, and we have set a world record now. So that shows us that how reliable, how how continuously we are growing, and we are like thriving for the new efficiency records which will meet the customer requirement, without diluting any kind of quality parameters, without just directly increasing the size of the models. We are not bringing with this efficiency or in the cells. So we are bringing the efficiency in the cells with respect to the suitable and reliable size of the cells and wafer sizes. We are bringing this efficiency, so which is commendable from the longipometer side. And also which has to be also approved by all the third party labs, which is TV Rhineland, PVEL, and RETC from US, and PV Magazine Test. So all these third party has been approved their world record efficiency and also our quality. Next. So these are the few certificates which I want to showcase it to you. TV Rhineland, so which has certified our modules. In the consecutive of last 4 years, we are the energy yield simulation winner through TV Rhineland. So that's a proud moment to share it with everyone. So next slide. And RATC high achiever for the last 4 years continuously. So which is one of the very toughest tests to pass by any of the model manufacturers. So with highest achieving performance in all these three: reliability and performance and quality, all these three segments. So we are highest performance achiever in RAT's test as well. Next. And also, we are the top performer in PVEL PV module reliability scorecard 6 times in the sequence, with respect to thermal cycling, damped test, PID test, pan performance, LID, and DML, all other mechanical load test, everything. So our models are performing in the top. Next. And also, we have tested our energy yield test conductance by PV Max test. So in that, Longi modules are leading. So we always have the highest performance compared to Indian modules, which is not only shared by the third party. We have verified with our customers as well. So they all are felt happy about our performance. So to our new customers, this reports makes more sense, we believe. Next. And we are the only module manufacturers for achieving the 2021 Intersolar Award. So our modules have got this award in the Intersolar. Next. Yeah, and a PVL bifacial module outdoor test. So you can compare it with this bar chart. So you can see that our modules are performing with respect to the gas reflectivity, and also to white reflectivity. So Longi models are performing 7.46 percentage in the grass reflectivity, and white reflectivity plot, we are Longi models are performing 11.44%, which is compared to other modules, other bifacial same modules. So our yield is like really high, which has been tested by PVEL. So this gives further confidence to the new clients that who are willing to go with the bifacial modules. Next. And last but not least, about this Longi life cycle quality, which runs through every product stage. So when I start from the multi-dimensional design, so when Longi decides to design a product, so it has a 6 dimension full scenario protection. So it's not that a module which gives higher power output. So it gives completely. It starts from the quality perspective, starts from the manufacturing perspective, and stringent material introduction. So for example, I can say that I mentioned the Long is a vertical integrated company. So we to make a control of all the BOM raw materials. So we all bombs are like Longi qualified bombs. So Longi bombs, we introduced Longi frames, Longi connectors, Longi EVA backsheets, Longi cells. So all the components to make the quality so rigid and stringent. So we used converted all into Longi brands. So hence from the basic raw materials till the core raw material cells and major raw material cells and other components, we use Longi brand. And so not only that, so each and every brand, every component that we use, which has the authoritative certifications, and we have empirical quality proof to showcase it to the clients. And I have a very lean manufacturing facilities across China and Vietnam and Malaysia. So which is very smart, very comprehensive quality management, which we use inside the factory. So which it is open to any of the customers to do a factory audit before they're buying from us. and have value added product experience, customized solution that we are providing to many of the utility customers, C&I customers. And foremost, after we supply the models to the clients, we take care the after sales service. It's a worry free after sales service with respect to warranty or with respect to any kind of module related issues. So we have a separate team to take care of after sales service. So that's it from my side for the day. So remaining things already, I think the video has covered enough. So any other questions from the speaker or from the audience can go ahead. Otherwise, I think we can move to the next section. Thank you all, everyone.
I think there is one question from Mr. Ashok from Novasis Green Energy, and he just wanted to understand about the degradation of N-type modules. If you can throw some light on that aspect, Piyush.
So presently, we haven't introduced the N-type into the market. So although I think we have introduced the N-type TopCon cells in the last year itself, but presently we feel that the N-type is not a mature technology to introduce into the market. We do have the p-type modules. So p-type itself, we have degradation. I think you can get it from our data sheet. It is about 1.5 percentage in the first year, 1.5 percentage for the bifacial module, 2 percentage for the monofacial module, and over a period of time it is 0.5 percentage of degradation for the monofacial and 0.45 for the bifacial module until 25 years for the monofacial, until 30 years for the bifacial.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that insightful presentation. We'll just take up some of the questions at the end of the session. And as we all know that Karnataka in India's southwest is a state that produces the most solar energy. It is well ahead of other states as well, with a total installed power capacity of around 7,100 megawatt, not including the 1,000 megawatt of projects in the queue. Further, it is among the very few states in India who have consistently met their renewable purchase obligation targets. Our webinar today will explore key pointers in Karnataka's solar market. We have been joined by an excellent panel today. Allow me to introduce Mr. Piyush Srivastav, who will be our moderator for the session, Mr. Ganesh Kumar from Longi Solar, Mr. Narsimha from Play Solar, Mr. Ravi Kumar from Dexler Energy, Mr. Sri Kumar from Amp Energy, Ms. Dhwani from U Solar. And now, without any further delay, we'll be initiating our much awaited panel discussion on solar market outlook Karnataka with our esteemed panelists. Uh, Also, a note to all our attendees: kindly post your queries in the Q&A box. The panelists will answer these once the discussion concludes. Now, requesting Mr. Srivastav to take over. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shashi. Welcome all our listeners, our speakers, and we hope that we would be able to address some of the important issues which you have in mind or which may come up during the discussions. We'll try to address maximum or if possible all of those. Since it is a webinar session and many of us may not be directly seeing or have seen, so I would request my panelists to just give a one or two line of introduction so that everybody is in line who is doing what. Thank you. Max, you would like to start?
Sure. Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Mukundan Max Narasimhan. I've been in the solar industry for 20 years now, both in the US, back in India. I right now represent a company called Play Solar, before which I had worked for larger corporations like Tata Power Solar and Sun Edison, etc.
Thank you, Max. Shrikant, please. Shrikant, you are on mute, please. Can you? Shrikant,
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Shrikant Suresh Kumar from AMP Energy. So I handle business development in South region and overall in the on-site distributed generation business and in some parts for the open access business of AMP also. So I see a lot of familiar faces here. So glad to get connected and meet one and all once again. So look forward to a good discussion.
Thank you, Shrikant. Dhoni,
Hi everyone, I'm Dwani Sunko. I work for USolar. I head business development and partnerships. USolar is uh, primarily into the CNI market. We do rooftop, on-site carport and ground-mounted projects, as well as a small percentage of off-site captive projects.
thank you, Dhoni. Ravi,
Hi Piyush, hi Dwani, hi Mr. Narasimhan, Srikanth, all familiar faces. Thanks so much for this opportunity. A very good afternoon to everyone. I am Ravi. I am the CEO and the co-founder at Dexler Energy. We work with SMEs. We help them solarize their facilities, both on-site and off-site. We are on a mission to power 10,000 SMEs in the next decade.
thank you, Ravi. Ganesh, you would also like to share, or I think everybody knows now already. You're there in the first session.
Yeah, I think few of the faces, I think, hi Piyush, yeah. Few of the faces, I think it is familiar to me. I think few of the faces are new to me. So I think after this session, I think I'll get connected with all of them. So, hi, myself Ganesh, take care of utility business from Longi side. So I've been in this solar industry for the last 13 plus years. So yeah, so I'm very looking forward to discuss much more interesting topics in this session.
Thank you all. I am Piyush Srivastava. I am working as a performance analyst and working on data on plant level analytics to bring out insights from the utility scale power plants. I have total experience of around 15 years in various fields of solar, starting from solar cell to module to engineering and now in O&M and analytics. So we'll be actually discussing some certain important points in this industry, and especially towards state we are currently located, most of us, I think. So, and we have seen that Karnataka has been always leading in this particular domain where the renewable energy is concerned. And now, I would not say it is a saturation level, but at present it seems like that. So there are certain trends, scenarios, course corrections that state is overlooking, and that is what we are going to hear from our esteemed panelists here who are present. So I like to start with Mux and understand the latest market trends and opportunities which the state is throwing to the industry as a whole. Mux, please.
Excellent. Thank you, Piyush. No, Karnataka has forever been an industry-friendly environment, right? So, and that's, I mean, that forms to the core values of the state itself, and that way, it's no surprise that we are leading with 7.6 gigawatts of solar installed already within the state. The second largest, two gigawatt size Pavagada plant is well known to pretty much the entire world, right? So that way, I think we've always started out to be very solar positive and solar encouraging. Even smaller startups as well as larger entities rush into Karnataka, right? With the latest trend being as we ramp up renewables, as we know, the variability of the grid becomes a huge problem, and it needs to be addressed with some kind of supply demand management. Some of that is handled using hybrid plants, including battery backed and wind plus solar plus battery backed solutions. That's a trend that is coming up in Karnataka as well, and I see Credel leading that with a 5 gigawatt tender coming up, and that's going to be interesting to sort of stabilize the grid. In addition to that, there is a huge focus on pumped storage as well, which will add to further increase in renewables capacity with pump storage being available. So I think those two trends will encourage more solar capacity. We're already sort of, from a generation standpoint, we're already positive enough for the state. Distribution is another channel challenge, right? Distribution has always been challenging in a sort of where the distribution companies are barely able to survive, right? From a profitability standpoint, Bescom is known to be profitable, but still under the books, it is it needs to go through some kind of a healthy transition, which will enable further encouragement of both open access and rooftop solar. Right now, those are both mitigated throughout the country, as you know, with a 40 gigawatt target, they've done under less than 6 gigawatts as a country, and Karnataka is no exception. So I think overall, very encouraging from a state standpoint, but still a long way to go for rooftop and open access increase in market penetration.
Thank you, Max. And just to add to your point, like you talked about Power Grid, so government is also discussing about this big solar power plant in Kalburgi region of Karnataka, where they are
Right.
trying to plan a big solar park. Uh, there are certain limitations to that plant. Currently, the evacuation is only limited to the central grid, but I think state is also working on to put the state level grid for the power evacuation. So hopefully, we'll be seeing something possibly moving in that direction too.
Mhm.
Okay, so Shrikant, what do you think? What do you think that what kind of investments, how we can attract basically the investments in this domain, which will help to accelerate the deployment of renewables in the state? What kind of investment? What kind of changes?
Right. So few points on that. Primarily, Karnataka has been a very investor-friendly state in terms of the impression and in terms of the performance of the state overall across various industries. Also, I think there is no ambiguity on that fact. So that's Karnataka as a state has always had a good vibe attached to it in terms of getting more investments. Secondly, Karnataka has also historically been a front runner in terms of giving a policy framework, creating the right regulations at the right time. In fact, showing the way to several other states on how regulation uh, can actually boost capacity within the state. So we have all of us within this industry have actually seen each of these developments play out, and the results of that also we are it's in front of our eyes. So right, if I talk from 2011-12, as early as 2011-12, all this kind of positive development has been happening within Karnataka with respect to renewables on the whole. So fundamentals are pretty good. Secondly, the resource for solar or for wind both have been good. So these two three things put together make Karnataka very attractive proposition for investors to focus on. And also the fact that it has been a huge very significantly industrialized state. So the demand is always there. So all these things are on the positives. So that's done. But moving on from here, what is going on is the regulators and the discoms are coming to the table with a mindset that have they got a lot of solar to handle now. But the solution to that is not to create a confusion within the regulations or slow down that positive approach in policy what they have been taking. That should not be the way they are going. The better route to take would be to look into what are the other technologies that they can bring in to balance out the grid and also continue to encourage renewables. So on that front, if the regulators try to create new regulations and encourage a mix of technologies, I think that would become that would give a good boost to getting new investments into this industry, which is already having its good footprint and a foothold within the state. So that's, I think, one of the ways they can proceed on this. And there are quite a few precedences on this also. Like I would like to mention, everyone knows that Gujarat has had a hybrid policy. So instead of developers going and putting a co-located solar and wind plant, and then treating both of them separately, or settling it separately with the consumer, what the state can do is come out with a clearly defined hybrid policy, and within that policy encourage developers to put up plants within a proper hybrid framework, so it can lead to less constraint in the grid also for them, as well as continue to encourage capacities within the state. So this is one of the measures that I can very well suggest that Karnataka should be working on. There has been action towards this direction during lockdown. They had come up with a draft regulation in 2019-20, but we are still awaiting to see light of day of that particular hybrid policy.
Thanks, Shrikant. So I have also heard about people discussing on one aspect regarding the attraction of the investment, and that is deemed any conversion as per other states. Mostly they compare with the northern part of India, where Rajasthan is basically the huge land base, where deemed conversions are actually very fast and little bit different from Karnataka. But I have a point like the landscape are very much different if we compare Karnataka and Rajasthan. So that could be one of the reasons why the policies are little different. I agree that there should be a consideration to attract more investment in this aspect also, because if you do not have land, then we are not actually talking about utility. So this could be one area where which would attract the investments. And would you like to also discuss the government order price increase almost double, because that has happened few months back, and the price have increased, and that is not in line with the attraction of the investors. So this is one of the point which is also in the discussion why that has happened. That is, but if done is done, so we have to live with it. Uh,
But I would say, I mean, we have seen precedences where Karnataka has brought in something, and if it has not been in line with what they should be doing or what is expected from them, they have backtracked. 2018, I think all of us can recollect. Backtracking is also possible when the argument is right and the decision is actually not going down well with the developers.
yeah, let us hope for that. Uh, okay, so Ganesh, I would like to understand from you regarding that internal demand. So we definitely have a lot of demand for solar and across the country, even within the state also. But how do you see this BCD and internal domestic manufacturing state? Because I do not see that the capacity internally is up to that scale. So how do you see that demand meeting with BCD in place?
Yeah, Vish, thanks for asking these questions rightly to me. See, the demand at the moment is huge. And also, with respect to the BCD, see, it's creating a lot of chaos with respect to the developers, because although they're getting the extension timelines and everything, but it is not made, it's not going to support the developers immediately. But over a period of time, yes. Okay, first I'll answer with respect to the demand versus the BCD. So demand is there, but BCD is a huge money which developer can't able to afford. But however, I think recently there are news has come that I think the government is going to give some concessional duty benefits for few of the projects which has been bidded before March 2021. So those projects, yes, they will have the chances to procure it from imported from China. Okay, so we are looking at it as a good business portfolio, not for the long term, at least for our next 1 to 1.5 years. So we can foresee that those project requirement, I think we can meet. I think it can support the domestic developers as well to meet their target project capacity achievement. Secondly, I would like to say about the local manufacturing expansion. So the local manufacturing expansion, yes, with respect to the PLI scheme, and many other companies have doubled their capacity which has been announced in various media platforms. But I would say that I think I've been in the industry. I worked in Indian model manufacturers. Now I'm working with the Chinese model manufacturers. So Indian model manufacturing industry is getting matured. Okay, I can say that it cannot be like within a year period or within a 2 years period. I think the demand can be entirely met by the Indian domestic manufacturers. So it takes a time. It needs to get matured to get into certain quality product and also achieve the certain efficiency, and which should match with the at the moment with the leading suppliers from China. So it takes a while, at least 3 to 4 years time. I can see that I think the demand versus the local manufacturing, yeah, meets. But till then, I think that we can also support for the Indian solar targets presently. So apart from
Okay.
that, PCB, I don't have any comments. So it's from the government perspective. So all with it from the developer point of view and with respect to the supplies point of view. So it's not comfortable.
No, that is, I think that that is a valid point from your end. See, one more thing I was about to ask you only. See, we are talking about meeting the demands in terms of modules, and see, modules are. We know that the for any utility scale power plant, the modules are 75 to 80% of the cost contributors, and out of that 80% contributors, the 60 to 70% contributor is cell.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything on to comment on that? Because cell and the silver which we use in that cell, we are not talking on that aspect. We are only talking on scaling up the module. I would say integration capacities. So, anything you see in that direction also?
It's
Because
a
I see
regular
only few companies
it's a regular question. I think we have been
scaling
hearing
up
this
their
from most of
cell
the
module.
developers. It's a regular question. I think which we have been hearing from many of the developers that cell is the crucial part now, because although the module is attracting of 40 plus other duties, but cell attracts only 25 percentage of duties. So many of the Indian manufacturers are looking at cells, and also the developers also looking at bringing the cells and manufacturing it in India. But at the moment, I can say from my company point of view, the cell manufacturing capacity that we have is it's meeting the self demand itself, because we are having a 65 gigawatt of model manufacturing capacity, and we have a cell capacity of 38.2 gigawatt cell capacity. So if you compare these two, that the entire cell capacity will become completely utilized by our own manufacturing. So it is a similar case with many of the cell manufacturing companies as well. So now most of the cell manufacturing company also started the model manufacturing companies, and at the moment, so to be precisely to talk about bringing the cells from China to India, or from any of the southeastern countries to India, so it's going to be an opportunistic kind of sales only. It's not going to be a supply demand kind of a business. So sales, yes, it's a long way to go. I think we're looking forward. I think many of the Indian companies also coming into the cell manufacturing. It takes a while until then. I think already I think established companies are supplying the cells with good amount of efficiency. So that will come over maybe next year. I think we can see that. I think the cell supplies also will begin slowly to the level that what is the supply requirement in India, but not immediately. But from next year onwards, you can see next year after Q2 calendar year, I think we can see that the supplies will get slowly stabilized with respect to the cells, wafers, modules, everything, so that we see with respect to the prices and also the capacity requirements. So from after Q2 onwards, I think we can see that that supply demand can be slowly met.
Okay. Thank you, Ganesh. Coming on to the rooftop business, and we are seeing a lot of presence from Dexler and U Solar. So just uh, wanted to listen to Ravi's view regarding the subsidies or how we are accelerating the deployment of rooftops, and then the same similar aspect we would like to hear from Dhwani also. Ravi, please.
Hi. I'm not so sure about subsidies because we are not pretty
Okay.
active in the residential segment. But I'll talk in a generic sense about rooftop deployment in the CNI space. I think again I would say that like some of the other panelists have already mentioned, Karnataka is pretty much a leader in terms of capacity additions uh, in all segments across open access, utility, as well as rooftop. I would say that the deployment, or the rate at which the capacities are being deployed has slowed down a little bit than what you would expect from a progressive state and an industrial state like this. Ideally, it should have been significantly higher, but we have seen some amount of slowdown because of some of the ad hoc measures being taken by the utilities, trying to restrict the capacity. Uh, while that being the case, I would say that the trend as such has been that the corporates and educational institutes, and even individual households and apartment complexes, more so in Bangalore, you would see that there is a very heightened sense of awareness in terms of the benefits of having a rooftop solar. The number of conversations, number of serious conversations that we are having has increased significantly. The only speed breaker in converting those into capacity additions has been that there is conflicting, or rather sometimes ambiguous set of instructions that the BESCOM or the people from distribution utilities give, signals that they give to users. It has not been easy, I would say. There has been increased amount of friction that is developing with the distribution utilities. I would say that it's just the momentum is so high. The momentum itself is so high in terms of the consumer awareness or consumer conversations, or the initiative that is being taken from the consumer side, that it invariably will come to a tipping point where you will see a very accelerated rate of deployment that will happen in the rooftop segment. I would say that it is not very far away. How is relatively a very simple conversation, right? It is only when that we need to have a conversation around. I think it is a good sign for the state, as well as in general to the targets that we as a country have towards our decarbonization efforts, or towards adding solar capacity as such. I think from that point of view, I'm really happy where we are as a state, where we will be, where we are heading towards.
Thank you, Ravi. Thanks for touching upon these aspects of rooftop. Dhoni, any different thoughts, any additions you would like to make in this particular topic of rooftop? How do you see the rooftop deployment going on, and what benefits you as a industry expert you feel that it should be there to augment it further?
Yeah, the biggest challenge for a rooftop, particularly for CNI, this year has been the increase in costs. Uh, I feel there is a lot of demand, especially since the pandemic. A lot of CNI companies and corporates have realized the importance of installing solar, um, both from a perspective of cost saving as well as to achieve their net zero goals, RE100 goals, and so on. However, there is reluctance to invest or capitalize at such a high value. So a lot of these projects are either moving forward to next year. People are hoping that prices come down. The other challenge has also been that the benchmark costs that Karnataka has released uh, through the BESCOM portal. It's a bit, it gives an impression that EPC companies or developers are not able to uh, you know uh, provide solutions at government qualified cost. So that needs to be updated, um, and I think that's very important to bring in the awareness on what's happening in in the market, both for CNI, and the same applies for residential also.
Okay. Yeah. One important aspect which I'm gathering from your views is increase in the cost, and yes, I think I am in agreement to that. We have seen certain companies who could not actually execute the plans on the ground because of this increase in the price, because the tenders were won in the cheaper price, and then the price have drastically increased post this pandemic, and they're still trying to figure out whether it is still economically viable or not. So I agree to this point, definitely. I wanted to take views from Mux on one of the important aspect which I feel is, now we are seeing in the state that uh, most of the projects are not those simple vanilla projects where we just get to the land, and now the industry is moving towards peak hour generations, round the clock generation. So I just want to understand as a experts how you guys are ready to cater to that demand, because I observe that it requires a lot of precision in decision making, whether through algorithms or some technical stuff. So how we are placed?
That's a very important question. See, as renewables ramp up, it is clear, and it's a good sign that we are looking at RTC as a solution, because you need round the clock power solution, not just during the solar hours, and that you can get some level of improvement. Let's say the PLF of 20 to 25 can go up to 30 35 if you add a wind capacity as well, hybrid solution. Then if you add storage as well, it can go up to 40 and above, 40 to 45 as well. So I think that's where the next wave of 5 to 10 gigawatts uh, is the push. I know Credle is working on something in that area, which will help increase that capacity and also stabilize the grid a lot more, right? Unnecessarily, the discoms who are already somewhat broke need to do various upgrades just to handle that 4 to 6 peak, right? The peak, the valley that is there because of solar, right? So for that to happen, you need to have a heavy database solution. SLDCs have to come to terms with exact, uh, you know, uh, you know, at an instant what is the power generated, and the main thing is, if you look at the base load capacity management, which is all done by coal at this point, they don't have any incentives, whether it is used for peak capacity management or base load. They don't get a different rate. So that is something that needs to change. Like most mature utilities have a different rate. We need to look at time of day billing as a factor, which will only enable all of these improvements. Without time of day billing, a battery addition will never be commercially viable, right? Uh,
Right.
at least smart meters are getting installed. Metrology is in place, which they could increase, but then without the time of day billing, where peak power management requires a certain skill, managing the power factors in those wee hours of the day requires certain skill set, certain additions, which batteries and other capacities will be able to manage. But then they cannot be done at the same cost as your regular 3 rupee uh, per unit or 4 rupee per unit. They need higher cost, and that is required by even the coal guys as we stand. But they are able to manage it at low cost because they're a government entity, not very profitable. They're losing big time because of all of that issues. I think there needs to be a complete revamp in terms of the time of day billing, which will only help all of these additional technology to ramp up.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But we do not want this Hindu rate of pricing.
Mhm.
Uh, yes, and this discussion, like, because it becomes important to to predict precisely, to plan precisely, and this plan takes me to a question which I wanted to discuss with Shrikant, that we are seeing that DSM has come up with a totally new plan now. From 5th December onwards, they are going to implement it altogether new policy, no new penalty system, and that again requires this kind of accuracy. And then I don't know. Karnataka definitely will be adopting that policy very soon, since CRC is going to do it, and all the states will fall in line shortly. So, what do you think, Shrikant? The DSM changes are going to directly hit the revenues for the utility generators. So, any comments on that point?
I would just like to comment basically on that implementing DSM charges and all is okay, but the problem starts when those charges and those regulations do not factor in the way in which the contracts have been designed with for the existing and the operational plants. As a developer, as a pan India developer, AMP has been doing open access projects in UP also, apart from other states. And in UP, we have faced all these issues of how penalty is getting levied because there is no clear cut framework. But there is a settlement mechanism which we need to follow as a developer. And this is, I'm talking in the context of CNI open access pure group captive PPAs. So then the recourse left with the developer was to first the project. I mean, we pay the penalty and then we fight it out, and eventually we have got a settlement with the SLDCs. So all these kind of cycles developers have gone through in other states. So my from that experience, my only input in this topic would be that it's okay to implement, but as long as the regulation is factoring all possibilities with respect to all kinds of projects which are already operational and the ones which are upcoming. And so because that will need some level of thought process and some clarity in implementing it's this implementation of such measures is going to be of the next level. It is not the early stage plain vanilla regulatory framework that is getting implemented. So it needs that level of accuracy which Mux is talking about. So they should also be on the same page as the project is.
Piyush, you're on mute.
Sorry. So I was just talking about some technical challenges which Rooftop as a whole is facing. So Ravi, would you like to discuss any other technical challenges which you foresee may come up because of the scenario which has been going on in Rooftop?
Technical challenges are kind of it's right now. I would say there are if we were to just simply look at amount of penetration that the rooftop has in the market today is I would say very minimal at this moment to have any significant impact on either the grid operations or frequencies or harmonics or anything, right? There might be some pockets of the grid that might experience issues because of probably badly installed systems or badly installed infrastructure. But from a pure penetration level, we are not at a place where it can significantly affect the grid operations really. If you were to ask, from that point of view. But purely from the plant itself, I would say the interesting bit is to see where the market is going with the larger panels that we are currently looking at, right? We are trying to pack in more power in either a small space or slightly marginal increases. I don't know what exactly it means for the rooftop segment per se, because if you are trying to do 600, 800, 900, are they going to be feasible to set up on top of rooftop areas? I'm not sure whether what is the weight, what is the dimensions, whether it will really be a beneficial thing to do for a rooftop system or not, is something that is a bit of an interesting development that we need to look at. The other trend that we should that I'm very keen about is the use of microinverters. uh, I want to understand. So far, it has been a pretty expensive proposition for the rooftop segment. Um, I would really like to see a more wider usage of microinverters. I do believe that purely from a technical sense, there are a lot of advantages that microinverters provide in the rooftop segment. The third one is the use of hybrid inverters in the space. So these are three interesting technical developments that we need to watch out for going forward. From grid integration point of view, I think, like I said, the penetration itself is so low. I don't see a huge challenge. Energy storage, yes, could potentially be a disruptor. Right now, the economics don't work at the rooftop level. Probably at the utility scale, grid integration projects like the city tenders that are going on, maybe yes. Once the economics are proven useful there, and like Mux was pointing out about ancillary services coming into play, whether it is frequency, whether it is for load shifting or any of those, if there are signals that are coming from the market saying that, listen, if you can use your storage systems to pump in or pump back into the grid at specific points in time, and you will be incentivized by a higher amount of tariff, etc. I think that will be an interesting play to see, more so in the rooftop segment than in the grid segment, because I think the concept of prosumer has not widely kicked off in India. There have been a lot of challenges, and the initial excitement of being a prosumer has been short-lived, thanks to distribution companies' flip-flop policies on gross metering, net metering, limiting capacities to sanction loads or contract demand, and so on and so forth. It's never really taken off in a big way. But I'd like to see that energy storage coming into play, and with more EVs coming into the system, battery swapping coming into play. I think it will be a very, very interesting time for us to see how the ecosystem of EVs, battery swapping, rooftop, and rooftop energy storage will together operate. That I'm excited about.
Great, Ravi. I think you are already prepared to answer a few other questions which I am seeing on the chat box.
if I can
So
just if I can just add to what Ravi is saying,
sure,
basically
Shrikant.
Karnataka is going to be a playground for several of these technological developments. So it is all the more important for Bescom and other towns in Karnataka also to upgrade their systems and be prepared, because this is the zone where all these things will come in as a first mover. The battery swapping and all this, the companies which do this are based out of Karnataka. So a lot of these things will get implemented first in Karnataka, and the regulators need to really accept this. It's a good thing. They just need to uh, fall in line with that. What I On the other side, I would like to also add that in 2019 December onwards, what Karnataka has actually displayed in the past 2 years is basically a total mix and match of saying I want to support rooftop solar in the residential or in the CNI space, but actually the documents and the regulations is doing everything contrary to that. So there has been a lot of flip flop in the past 2 years, and it's a prime example of things were going right in Karnataka for the rooftop segment, and they just brought everything to a grinding halt, and created a lot of issues, confusion for a complete segment in solar. And to add to that, a lot of regulatory overlaying layer on layer on top of each other to really end up with not too much of capacity deployment in the past 2 years.
Yeah, so this is Mux again. I'd like to add a couple of more points. I think both Ravi and yeah, Shri brought a whole slew of other points. I just wanted to add this idea that basically any solar deployment is like a three-legged stool, right? You need to have the utility policies or the central government policies aligned, right? Then you have the second stool, which is the state policy, because it's a concurrent subject, as you know. We need both policies aligned, and the third is the supply availability, right? Right, all three need to be aligned. When two of them are aligned, the other one is not aligned. So I wouldn't blame 100% just the state policy. The sudden ramp up in prices, as Dhwani pointed out, right, due to BCD and non-availability of cheaper alternatives, right, also caused havoc. So it was like a perfect storm. But I think people will come to terms of it. If you look at the from a developer perspective, it's about 6 months of payback issue because of the increased price. It's not a huge deal. But then for a capex client, it becomes significant. If you ask them to pay 20% more or whatever, right? So that stigma will go away because they are still not deployed solar according to their plans. It'll come back. But I think as we have always been, solar has always been a long game. So I would advise all the panelists and companies to be a little bit more patient. And Karnataka is a giving state, and I'm sure we will be ramping up very soon.
Yeah. Thank you, Max and Shigan, for adding these points. Actually, so during the discussion, I gathered from Ravi few points on battery swapping and EV and similar questions I wanted to ask from Dhwani also, because they are also into carport business. So how do you think that all these things can be integrated and pitched as a complete package,
Yeah,
maybe in
I
the
was
state or
actually,
outside?
yeah, I've been waiting my turn. So, very well aligned with what Ravi said. The future of uh, solar, and I don't look at it purely as solar, but I think of it as energy services for the CNI segment, is very bright. The draft policy that came out for Karnataka, it talks about the building a future ecosystem for clean energy, right? So every single technology integration possibility is there. We have EV charging systems. We have, it can be integrated in places like malls with your rooftop solar. There is definitely use cases for each of these technologies. It may so happen that somebody installs rooftop solar first and then, looks at EV charging later, or introducing batteries, or even, creating in IT parks or any industrial parks uh, a decentralized energy trading system, because blockchain and P2P trade is also permitted. So it's definitely exciting. While looking at this space as, uh, you know, uh, while rooftop is important, it will start creating prosumers and, giving a lot of independence in energy generation. So yeah, I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, I think we are almost running out of time, and we just wanted to give some more time to our participants who have a lot of questions and they want our views on that. So, uh, Shakshi would like to share some questions which our attendees wanted to ask? Or
Sure. I'll be just screening some questions on screen in here.
okay, so I have one question which actually asked is why the utility scale companies are not uniting together and pitching their case to the Karnataka Discom and find some immediate solutions which they might be looking for. So somebody would like to address this point.
No, I think let me. This is Max. I'll take a crack at it, and I'm sure
Yeah,
others will be interested as well. See, it's not per se that Discom's attitude towards solar is negative. I would disagree with that because uh, if you look at it, it's the only state with the we were there with the 1 year policy. Now we have a 2 year policy, right? At least some visibility in terms of pricing. Every March we don't have to go revise it, right? So that is there now. I think that shows some positive intent from the discoms, right? So I wouldn't disagree. I would disagree with the fact that it's totally negative. But yes, are there challenges? Yes, of course. But not all of it is with Karnataka Discom. As I pointed out, it's a three-legged stool. We needed to have the pricing in place aligned with what the customer is expecting, and that's where the disconnect was this time. It's not the state policy, right? So and yes, this whole back and forth on the subsidy has been a huge issue, setting the expectation that the end customer will get subsidy, and many, in fact, apartments applied for that subsidy and are still yet to be installed because they don't have the vendors lined up who would be able to do it at the prices, right? Which was also pointed out by Dhwani. So those issues are still there, but I think there's no lack of intent, right? I think it's just a question of execution challenges on the ground. I think that's where the issue is. But I think from with the current prices, if we are able to execute even half of what the plans are, I think it's a great win for the state, right? And I think let's wait till March end, when the mad rush towards utility ends and the prices stabilize a little bit more, and I think you will see some significant ramp up in rooftops again.
right. I
I just
hope
want
we
to
could
add
answer
a little bit.
Ashok. Yeah, sure, sure. Ravi.
Yeah, I think Max was right in saying that it is not 100% only the discom at fault, or there is a significant amount of negativity only from discom. Just case in point being that, if you see the open access installations, I think there is a report that came recently. Karnataka is a leading state in terms of open access installations, right? Almost at, I think it's some ridiculous number, 40-50% of the overall capacity additions have happened in Karnataka. If you see even the number of rooftop capacity, the aggregate capacity of rooftops that are added, I think we still rank in second or third among the country, among the states in the country. So is one of the best states to operate in. So there is a combination of consumer awareness, industrialization, distribution company, all of them coming together to make this happen. Otherwise, if the state was 100% negative, this much capacity would not have been added. You can still say that there is a small capacity addition and we'll probably be in some of 8th, 9th, 10th position. But if a state is leading, that won't be possible if the distribution company is uh, not on board with the idea. Yes, there are challenges. It's not easy to do that, but I think it shows that the developers and the distribution company and the state electricity department are able to work together uh, at some level cohesively to be able to drive this kind of capacity addition.
Thank you. I think
Yeah, I think
we
in line, Piyush, if I may just add,
sure,
in
sure.
line with what Ravi's saying, part of the problem is unrealistic targets. Uh, you know, for instance, Bescom nearly 2.5, 3 years ago put a target for 300 megawatt peak to be done in the residential sector. Right, that is not realistic. Uh, a lot of the roofs in Bangalore may not be viable for rooftop, right? Especially in the residential sector, right? There are lots of trees in the city, which, you know, while it's great for our climate, it's not sometimes viable to install rooftop because of your tree, and we do not recommend chopping down your tree. So we just tell the client that it's not possible, you know. So they had to go back and revise their goal. So that gives an impression that, you know, we're falling short every year, but actually the goal setting is not, you know, thought out. So that's kind of part of the problem that we see
Yeah,
here.
I agree. Yeah, some course correction, seeing the realistic scenarios is always required. So I don't know, means whether we could rightly answer Mr. Ashok's question or not, because he has been putting a lot of queries in this point. But hopefully we will again come back. There is a one question which I wanted to take up quickly from Srinivas. He wanted to know about, yeah, question is on the screen. Shikant, you would like to answer it, or maybe
Well,
Dhwani, Ravi?
the short answer is both these mechanisms cannot coexist for the same consumer, uh, primarily because both are different settlement mechanisms for different types of projects. One is net metering is applicable only for an on-site installation within the premises of the consumer, and for an open access you need an ABT meter that is primarily to account for a solar installation which is outside the premises of the consumer. So the primary answer is that, and there is a, I think, a regulation to this effect also, that in Karnataka you can't go first, the consumer cannot have a rooftop solar, take net metering, and after 1 year go and ask for an open access permission also.
So I think just to add to what he said, see you can as a consumer who has enough rooftop area, you should try to consume it within your premise as much as possible, right? But if you go for that net metering, you have multiple factories, then you can choose which one goes for open access and which one goes for net metering as well. So in the same meter, as she said, it's not possible, but if you have multiple premises, then you can look at that option.
Thanks, both, for adding these points. Mr. Selvam wanted to ask, would like to know that discoms in Karnataka state have the same open access policy or different? Ravi would like to answer this.
Hey, it is the same. There is
Okay.
no different. So all discoms will follow the same policy.
Yeah. Okay. Shakshi, you have anything? Any other questions on? Because I can't see more.
Yes, one more
Otherwise,
question.
we'll try to wrap up with the final comments.
Yes, we have one more question here.
Okay.
I think there was one more that talks about intra discom. Um, you know, yeah, there is an open access fee, right? If your location is in a different district, which comes under a different discom, you have the wheeling and cross subsidy surcharge which needs to be paid.
Okay. I think this answers to Mr. Selvam question. There's one more question on the screen. How is Karnataka market placed with respect to open access and group captive? Anybody want to address?
I think the new policy is very positive, but we're still waiting for it to be launched. So once that happens, the market opens up to smaller capacity, um, 100 kilowatt peak and
100 kilowatt.
above, yeah, can apply for open access. Similarly for group capital as well. So yeah, I think in the coming years we're going to see a lot more, smaller, uh, smaller quantum consuming clients opt for it.
Okay, I'm also just curious about it a little bit. It's my own question that I wanted to just bring it up about the 100 kilowatt. I just wanted to understand what are the implications. What does the panel think in terms of what does it mean for the discom? What does it mean for the consumers? How is it going to change the dynamics?
Yeah, I mean, even in a group captive setting, right? 100 kilowatts or 1 megawatt, they have to invest 26%, right? So um, it's just a smaller quantum for 100 kilowatt compared to a megawatt. Other than that, the wheeling and this thing is not um, is only based on the number of units, right? So I think it should be it's a welcome move, and you have as a developer who has installed, let's say 20 megawatt plant, you have multiple options to sell to various clients. I think it's a good thing, I would say.
Yeah,
Shrikant,
same.
any thoughts? Shrikant, I think is
I think,
No,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
he's.
I had just stepped out. Just come back. Sorry, I didn't hear.
I was just asking about 100 kilowatt. Are you guys excited about the 100 kilowatt regulation, or you are like not too very impressed?
Uh, Indifferent actually. The consumers start asking us more and a lot of questions that I am now eligible for open access. Why are you not offering that? But then we have to educate them about, look, they'll adopt what is required and when required. So as of now, you're still in the red list. Yeah, so it's not yet led to much difference on ground is my experience. It definitely opens the door for smaller players to get open access. So once some of the states start implementing that, taking recourse to that, I think there will be some opening on that front.
Dhwani, the other school of thought is that, because the 100 kilowatt is coming, open access is now in place. Like, rooftops are not going to happen, and people would want to opt for open access more than rooftop. Do you think that's going to be the case?
I don't, because, like Shrikant said, a lot of the smaller consumers may not be eligible. And if they are, perhaps, the developers need to look at the quantum, even though, 100 kilowatt peak and above is permitted, you're looking at multiple sites, building that quantum to develop your asset. So, rooftop will always be, it will always have its space, but yes, I think if a client has that quantum and can deliver it, they would rather opt for open access, because we also have the challenge where you can't do both unless you have multiple meters and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
from an pure economic standpoint, it makes all the more sense to do net metering on your rooftop. If you have the space for it, go for it. Why would you want to pay cross subsidy
Correct,
surcharge
correct.
and all that?
Especially if your quantum is lower,
Yeah,
then investing that 26% or getting into the CSS and other charges, does
correct.
it kind of breaks down. So it's
And
about the quantum. Yeah.
correct, and also introduces the variability when that charge will change with time. You don't know. So there are a lot of uncertainties in the open access.
Yes, it was a very
Thank
interesting and insightful discussion, dear panelists. Uh, Unfortunately, we are running short of time, so we would like to conclude by saying our thank yous to all the esteemed panelists for this exhilarating session, and a very special thanks to you, Mr. Srivastava, for superbly moderating the session. We would also like to extend our gratitude to all the attendees for investing their valuable time and support for the event. We hope the key takeaways from the session will be instrumental in paving the way for sustainability. We promise to be back with more exciting sessions. Thank you and good evening, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
you all.
Piyush. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Sakshi.
Thank you. Thank you, all the panelists and the participants. Good evening to all.
And sorry for those questions which are not answered. Maybe we can connect sometime somewhere and answer those. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you once again.